I don't really have much of an idea of what I'm gonna be filming today. So there's that. If y'all know me, then it's your girl Lekem. What's going on? And if you don't know me, then definitely hit that subscribe button and follow my IG and all my socials. But for now, we will be going on to today's video, which isn't much of an idea or a topic. It's just a conversation. Today's video is gonna be talking about the unrealistic standards that social media sets for us. A lot of topics like this can be sensitive, or some people might get uncomfortable with them, but I feel like it's really important to talk about, especially during quarantine, where whatever is being presented to you is such a sliver of what is going on in somebody's life, and it doesn't paint a picture of what life is accurately. If you are not ready to discuss or, evaluate how unrealistic standards can affect you and your mental health, then you might want to sign off this video for right now, but come back to it later. It's up to us and up to each person to kind of acknowledge when they're ready to watch videos like this or even talk about topics like this, but definitely make sure to check this out at one point in your lifetime. It doesn't have to be today, but it should be one day at the very least. So definitely enjoy this little chit chat, just a very candid one where I'll just be doing a pretty natural makeup routine, nothing crazy, because we're going to be talking about such topics. Let's talk about what the definition of the beauty standard is. So right here it says that the beauty standard is simple to be. Oh, I can't read apparently. So the answer, I can't speak. Okay, like I was saying, the beauty standard definition is to be perceived as attractive or beautiful in the eyes of oneself or others. But the beauty standard is essentially a variable standard of what it means to be attractive that is contingent on the feminine beauty ideals that are presented in a given culture. So this is a pretty general one because it's important to also note that beauty standards all throughout the world aren't necessarily the same, although yes, there is a lot of pressure or even reliance, if that's a word, but I know some cultures heavily rely on American beauty standards, which are obviously that skinny, white, long, flowy, straight hair, maybe even blonde hair, blue eyes, thin nose, specific features that are Eurocentric, and there are some cultures that are outside the United States that do align or believe and follow these beauty standards. A perfect example would be like Korean beauty, but there are also a lot of cultures that actually have nothing to do with the American beauty standard at all. In Ethiopia, there is a different type of beauty standard. Usually, the darker you are, the more beautiful you are. So it's interesting to engage in conversations like this because I am multifaceted in different shapes and forms, right? Because I do align with several different cultures, obviously like Ethiopian, Tanzanian, and then we got the US or American in me. And so it is important to engage in these conversations because the beauty standard is different everywhere you go. As I do my brows, I wanted to ask you guys, what is your concept of beauty? What does it align with? Does it align with a specific culture? If so, what is considered beautiful in your eyes? Because it comes down to so many different things, especially when you're talking about different cultures, right? So I really want to know what you guys think beauty is, and if you're from the US, obviously, I'm sure your beauty standard is aligning with the Eurocentric, European type beauty standard, right?
By aligned, I mean subconsciously affected by and continuously perpetuating it without even realizing it subconsciously, because we are playing into these standards and letting them affect our day-to-day life.
That's not really what beauty is, right? Because I think people mistaken what's on the outside for everything else. Like, it seems like what you present yourself as on the outside is like the whole package, which it really isn't. If anything, it's like 10% of who you are. Like, looks are great and all, but there's so many people who would be considered beautiful and drop dead gorgeous under the American beauty standard and are actually some of the nastiest people you will ever meet. So that's definitely something to acknowledge too, and obviously I'm sure most of us know that at this point in time. I wanted to really unpack these unrealistic beauty standards and why they affect us in the way that they do. Before we continue going on with this video or even discussing these unrealistic beauty standards, now that we know what a beauty standard is in general and what the Eurocentric beauty standard is, let's discuss unrealistic beauty standards. Unrealistic beauty standards are a plague to today's society. Good term so far. Women look around and see expectations of what to look like everywhere around them. This can lead to mental health issues and other issues. It can also cause women to try to change themselves to fit society's image. How many of you guys watching this video have tried to change yourself to fit society's standard? Because I know I have. So I just want to know if there's more people out there. I feel like everybody has done this in one way, shape, or form, because whether it's your hair, your weight, your looks, your skin tone, whatever the case may be, you have. And even some white women who fit the European beauty standard tan themselves a lot of the time to be darker, right? Even y'all can kind of say that you have in one way, shape, or form tried to change your appearance so you can fit into society better or in a more accepting way. Now, the reason we're discussing this is because, well, it's everywhere. Whether you are living in the US, living anywhere else, there's some sort of beauty standard that you either know of or try to mold yourself to. So that is obviously an important thing to point out. And I mean, there's several icons that we know who have done this. Like literally have been put in situations that they go to photo shoots and they lighten their skin, or they straighten their hair, or they don't know how to fix their hair, so they completely mess it up. And it's very common. I mean, a perfect example is Beyonce. She is constantly, or at least in the past, people came for her for lightening her skin on certain magazine covers, and I'm not sure if it was her specific idea or it was the people and the institutions and the magazine companies that were saying, hey, we need to make this look lighter so we can sell this more. That's unfortunate, right? Because Beyonce is somebody who's supposed to be representing a different generation, a different icon, but even in that you can see that she has been forced to like mold to a certain beauty standard, because hello, Beyonce has curly hair just like me, but when do you guys see her curly hair? You see what I'm saying? It's like barely do we see anything that represents who she is other than what the beauty standard have forced her into. And obviously today that's changed, so not trying to come for the queen, but that's true. It happened, and it will continue to happen to other people, not necessarily Beyonce, because now she holds a different certain sort of stature, right? But a lot of people find themselves in situations where they're going to photo shoots and people are like, oh, okay, well we need to Photoshop this part of your body, or we need to make it look light here, or we need to whatever. And it's like, why though? The whole beauty standard and the ideation of it kind of comes from like these people saying, oh, we're going to change this because it doesn't fit or it won't sell as well if we don't, make your waist smaller, or if we don't make your skin a little lighter, or whatever. That is then perpetuated through these icons like Beyonce, like a bunch of other artists that will present themselves in one way, and then the consumer, which is us, we see that and we say, oh, so that's what perfect is, or oh, that's what beauty is, or that is the most beautiful you can get, therefore I'm gonna strive for that. And that's not true at all. And not to come for Beyonce at all, I'm sure she's a great person, but we don't know her. She could be awful, you know what I mean? Just because she's beautiful or she has fit the beauty standards in certain times and certain, aspects, doesn't mean that she's an amazing person. If anything, the fact that she was molding herself to these unrealistic standards, does that make you a good person? I don't know. But we all have done that, right? So none of us can sit here and judge Beyonce for doing that, but at the same time we have to acknowledge the fact that just because she did those things, or just because the companies told her to do that, doesn't make her any more beautiful or any more better than us, right? It's sad because I know I've been there too, you know, as I'm sure most of you guys have. But it's like you're trying so hard to be something that you're literally not. So it puts a strain on you every day to live that way or act this way or, you know, straighten your hair or suck your stomach in whenever you're taking photos or whatever the situation is. It turns into like a mindset almost, and you don't even realize it because you think this is how it's supposed to be. But it's actually the complete opposite, because the people that are perpetuating this aren't actually aware of what beauty is. They just see what's on the tabloids, see what sells, and so they try to sell it too. That is the biggest issue I have with it, is because it's all a marketing tool. Like, high key, most of it is just marketing to a lot of these companies and these influencers or, you know, celebrities or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Rihanna literally didn't even gain weight, by the way, but she probably was just a little thicker than usual. She probably just ate good that day, to be honest. And if I can try to find some photos, I'll put them up here. But they literally dragged her and they were like, she's so fat, she's so this, Rihanna's gained weight, like the world is gonna end. And it's just like, what? Like, where are you talking about fat or plus sized or overweight? And I'm just like, I don't understand, you know? When we see things like that too in the tabloids, like we think, oh, damn, Rihanna gained a little bit of weight. I can't do that. Like, I cannot, because if I do, I'll get dragged like Rihanna. A lot of the beauty standards tend to create a little bit of a narcissistic tone in our own minds, because we're so self-obsessed about looking skinny or looking like we have to, you know, have our straight hair or whatever the case is, contacts, all this stuff, right? It's like, why do I need to do all that? Because that's not who I am. In fact, it takes so much time out of my day to achieve anything close to that, and it's still not worth it, because when I go out, I'm feeling comfortable, you know? Especially when you're perpetuating an unrealistic beauty standard that doesn't even align with who you are, it gets uncomfortable. Like, you'll walk out sometimes and you'll be like, oh my god, I shouldn't have even worn this outfit. Like, I really shouldn't have. Like, I feel not okay. And why do that to yourself just because Rihanna or Beyonce or somebody else got called out for looking or being a certain way when they're just the way that they are? And the news reports and the tabloids are all like writing about how this person looks versus how this person looks, and it just turns into this comparative tone where, like, I don't even think the celebrities honestly care that much. In addition, that makes us care more because we think that they care, or that, you know, because it's out there, we need to watch ourselves or make sure we're okay. And it's like, I was fine. I was always fine, you know? Like, I don't understand why even I myself had succumbed to that kind of behavior or even just like thoughts. I think that's just one thing to quickly address, is that like it can turn into a very like egotistical, narcissistic, negative trip. Like, not in a positive way, like not like I'm the best, I'm the queen. It's like, oh my god, everybody's watching me, like I don't know what to do. I need to make sure I don't have this on my hair. I need to make sure that I make sure that didn't even make sense, but I need to make sure that like I have the proper outfit. I need to make sure that I'm skinny. I need to make sure that, you know, my butt is big, and then my boobs are like, now small boobs are in. Like, what? You see, this is also another thing, is that the beauty standard is constantly changing. Like, a few years ago, big juicy lips were in. A few years before that, everybody was hating on black people for having big juicy lips. Now, big butts are in, right? Big butts don't lie. But now, or in the past, big butts were actually like frowned upon. It's like, oh my god, she has a fat ass. Like, let's not. I was watching Moesha and Girlfriends recently, and in those two shows, they talk about how like the main characters have fat asses, which they were blessed with, by the way. And all the characters are always like, oh my god, your butt is too big. Like, girl, hide that. Like, nobody wants to see your big butt. And now it's like idolized. It's like everybody wants it. And then in the past, it was like having big, voluptuous, or I don't even know what the word is, but vibrant boobs was a thing. And now it's like itty bitty titty committee. So it's just like, things are constantly going to change within the beauty standard, and the fact that we're constantly trying to mold to something that will always change is just so unhealthy, because in the end, we naturally change anyways. We're gonna gain weight, we're gonna lose weight, we're gonna have long hair, have short hair, we're gonna, you know, I don't know, lose hair, gain hair, all that stuff. And the fact that we are trying to mold ourselves to something that is changing at a faster rate than we are is unrealistic, honestly. And I mean, that's why it's called the Unrealistic. I don't even know if I can speak, but I'm glad what I'm saying makes sense, hopefully, or I hope it does. I don't know. Trying to mold to these beauty standards that are constantly changing from day to day, from hour to hour, it's just so unhealthy, and it turns again into this narcissistic kind of behavior, and you don't want that in your life for yourself or the people around you. It can just get unhealthy. Like, really, it can screw up some relationships, some deep friendships, and all that. You don't want to self-obsess over things that in the end you can't control, because they're gonna change anyways. You see what I'm saying? The same way the beauty standard is. It's like, you can't control it, it's going to change. Why try? Like, why try to change yourself, you know? So when I was writing and brainstorming about this video, as I do in my journal, one of the first talking points or just ideas that I wrote down was that people get sad. Literally, that is the first thing I wrote, is that this topic, or unrealistic beauty standards, just make people sad. Like, it really does. Whether you benefit from it or not, it still makes you sad one way or another, because you will never always fit the beauty standard. Never. Because it's unrealistic, and it is constantly changing at a rate that you can't really like achieve and catch it. So there's almost no point. I mean, not almost. There is no point. All it does is like really kickstart this sadness in you, and that sadness can quickly change and turn into full-fledged like depression, anger, all those feelings that you necessarily don't want to associate with, especially when you can control them. Like, I think being sad is okay, and being depressed is natural, but when you can literally physically control it by turning off your phone or just literally not engaging and worrying about these things, I guarantee you your life will be less sad and less depressing, if that makes sense. Another thing that I briefly touched on in the beginning of this video is that most of what you see is such a fraction of what actually is happening in people's lives. So usually it's like these social media standards that are created in general, and it's not just beauty standards in this aspect, because this video is titled like social media standards, so I'm attacking both, you know, unrealistic beauty standards, but also just the social media standards in general. And the main issue I have with like the social media aspect of just the standards and the vibe that we all get from social media is that this is happening now and you need to be doing it too. It's all about the trends. It's all about what's trending. What are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna post something about it, or are you gonna sit in bed and feel bad about it? Those are like literally it, right? So when you're seeing people go out, go on trips, or go to fancy restaurants, or go do this, go do that, it's like, just because they're doing that doesn't mean that they're necessarily happy. Like, most of my stories are pretty much snippets of what I do during the day. So if I go out, I'll post like some food that I ate. If I go hiking, I'll post like the hiking trail, but you don't know the arguments that are happening at the dinner table, or you don't know what's going on the hike trail. I could have lost my water bottle. Like, there are so many devastating things that happen behind the scenes of those story posts, of those Instagram posts, and you don't get to see that. So I feel like within that, we're just assuming everybody's life is okay, and when we feel bad, we start to think, oh, maybe I should go out, maybe I should go consume or be part of this capitalist society in order to be happy, which is actually not true at all. It's just what I guess everybody kind of does. It's like we all don't even realize because we're seamlessly posting, but the reality is a lot of us are looking at those posts like, oh my god, I want to go to that place. Like, going there will make me happy, right? Like, I feel like that's the main message here, is that like when you see these things, you're like, oh my god, I need to go there, that'll make me happier. Oh my god, I need to get this Kylie top because this is gonna be everything and it's gonna bring me so much joy. And that is the ploy of social media. Like, social media is quite literally a marketing tool. Like, people who don't understand that are not understanding that everything on social media is pretty much fabricated and isn't real. Like, most of the things you see are on set. Even when I take photos of my food, honestly, I like set it up to make it look good. So it's all a marketing tool, and we don't even realize that because we use it so much and we're like, oh, let's make it look perfect. Like, we are all marketers without recognizing it. And so I think just being aware of the fact that, like, look, social media is cool and all, but we need to make sure that, like, the real life stuff that's going on either is getting presented, or every once in a while we just like show snippets of us or talk about snippets of us being upset or being sad or being unhappy, because then people will even be like, okay, I felt that. I really felt that. And now I don't feel as bad because I was really sad all day today. And that creates more of a realistic vision of social media, but I don't see social media turning into that, even though I sometimes do post things of that nature. Just, I'll take a photo of a white wall and like do texts all over the page and be like, hey, this is what happened today. I'm really sad about it. But a lot of people don't do that, and I'm not expecting people to, because it's your page, do what you want. But be aware that what you're posting can affect other people, and also be aware how other people's posting affects you, because that also can help you control like who you want to follow and who you want to unfollow. And that's a whole other topic, and I can totally talk about that in another video, because I feel like I have clicked that unfollow button too many times. And it's okay. It's totally okay to relinquish your page and kind of just be like, I don't want this energy on here. I don't need to be seeing that because it's not giving anything to me. If anything, it's taking away time that I could just be swiping on the next story. Like, I'm here holding it, looking at it, like, who's there? Like, I don't need to know, you know? Those things are super unhealthy, and those habits are super unhealthy. So it's really hard to catch, because social media is such a heavy marketing tool, but it's also sets up this beauty standard that's super unrealistic. So it's like, okay, if it's setting up this unrealistic beauty standard, how is it a marketing tool? The answer is right there in the sentence, right? So, now that I've outlined my lips, I want to give you guys a quick tip before I end this video on how to really visualize in your head, and also just simply kind of step back from social media. And that does not require you to get off your phone. Not at all, because I know we all love our phones, right? My main tip would be to simply step back. So like, look at my phone. In fact, I'll just, pop up a photo or something so you guys can kind of literally visualize it. But okay, there we go. This is a photo of a drink. I think it was just like Jack Daniels and Coke, like a little mixed drink. Now look at it again and step back. Like, actually try to step back in my room, or step back in the photo, right? Like, step back and be like, what's going on around here? Like, what's here and what's here and what's up here and what's down here? If you can't guess, or you can't really visualize it, then don't worry about it. That's what I would say. Like, if it's not your friend, that's basically the vibe, is if it's not your friend and you can't visualize more than that little box, skip that screen. Skip that story, scroll through that photo, don't even give it a like, because people be giving out likes for no damn reason, including myself. But it will also help you understand that you don't need to worry about what's going on in other people's lives. So if you can step back and be like, I don't even know this person, like, why am I obsessed with this photo? Look, you might like the drink, you might like the place, you might like the location. Click on whatever you like, get the information you need, and get out, if it's even that deep. But usually it's just like, something of the city or this or that, and you're just like, I can't even visualize where this is. Like, why am I still holding on to the story? I need to skip already. So definitely give that a shot, and let me know if you guys do use that little bit of a tip. Try to be yourself. In the end, there's only one you. Boo. I feel like this was such a nice look though. Like I didn't even do any foundation. I feel empowered after this discussion. Like, sis, these are topics that need to be discussed. So if you guys want to talk more about other social media related topics or just unrealistic standards or beauty standards even further, then let me know in the comments down below, and definitely let me know if you want a video about how to cleanse your social media from people that you don't need on there, like trash humans or people that you feel attached to from your past. Like, how do you move on from that? Well, let me know and I'll give you some tips, because a girl had to do that. I definitely have some new and fresh content coming to you guys sooner than later, and I still am editing that 1 week in my life. It is actually like so long. Shout out to you guys for being patient though, and I really appreciate you guys giving me video requests, because that helps me figure out what to film. So if you have any more video requests, drop that down below. Definitely let me know if you guys want like a video on colorism too, because I feel like I touched on that very lightly with the Beyonce and just some different topics in that aspect, and with hair too, but definitely let me know, because there's a lot more to be touched there, especially in the sense of like Ethiopian culture as well. And somebody did ask me a video about that a while ago too, so I can incorporate that idea into another video if you guys like. Regardless of all that, I love you guys for constantly listening to me, my rants, my talks, and yeah, this year is gonna be better than ever, you guys. We're gonna grow our wallets, hopefully, grow our bank accounts, you know, grow mentally, go physically, you know, whatever the case is, I'm here for it. So, love you guys, and I will catch you guys in the next video.